action items.
An ordinance amending sections 52.01, 52.02, and 52.04 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances regarding sewer service provision and fees. This ordinance amends sections 52.01, 02, and 04 to establish a requirement for capacity review of all new requests for sewer service over 400 gallons a day, require a capacity review fee of $500 for properties located outside the city limits, which is refundable upon successful annexation, require those properties outside of the city limits that share a physical boundary with these limits to request voluntary annexation into the city prior to receiving sewer service or sewer service improvements, establish new administrative fees based on number of water meters installed for properties located outside the city limits and connecting to city sewer, and establish new sewer rates for customers inside Franklin County but outside the city limits at an additional 10% on top of the base rate, and customers outside of Franklin County at an additional 15% on top of the base rate.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Commissioner Smith Willis.
First, want to thank County Judge Executive Michael Mueller to come in, and Squire Blackburn for voicing kind of how they felt on moving forward with this matter. I personally would have liked to table this just to kind of give us time to continuously talk to our people across the way to make sure this is the right decision. I did talk to a couple, but I do think this is the right decision moving forward. So I just wanted to kind of put that on the record that just in terms of communication, we could keep effectively communicating moving forward. This is not probably going to be the only matter that we have to collaborate on and have discussions about. But I do feel like in terms of our community, this is the best decision. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Commissioner May.
Thank you. Thank you for staff for preparing this. And again, yes, thank you to our friends from the county government that came and spoke. For me today coming in and making this decision, I very much felt like, from what I understood from our staff, that the conversations were happening along the way and that there was communication. And so I'm making that decision today based, partly on that. Certainly agree with the language and the changes that we need moving forward. It's something that really should have been addressed, decades ago. And this is the necessary work, and sometimes not always the easiest work, but the positions that we're in to help shore up the financial stability of the city, and it's what's right for our constituents. And I do, just want to address that, to follow up on what you said, Commissioner Smith Willis, about making sure to keep the door open moving forward. So, I look forward to continuing to work with them on issues that affect all of us, but this is an issue that I think is central and located to the city, as we are the ones that manage, fund, operate, and are ultimately responsible for our solid waste and management system and sewer system. So I appreciate all the conversation from staff and board members and the community.
Commissioner Unger.
I'd just like to start by saying, I feel like I've been a part of this conversation for a while. We started with the sewer rate study several years ago, and we have, gotten to this point where we've crafted what I think is a very good ordinance. It's a very good update that, we really could have done several years ago. And I'm glad to be here at this point. And I do hear from our friends across the river how important communication is. And I agree as well. And I do hope and I do believe that we as the city have communicated what we're working on. So I do feel good about that. I also think this is very fiscally responsible for us, for our sewer department. It'll help us continue to improve services and also, work on development that will happen inside our city limits as well as outside. And I'm doing some rough math, but I think we've already talked about over $600,000 worth of agenda items just at the sewer department, and then maybe one more item coming up here soon that I hear might be around $200,000. So, you know, that's a big cost to us, a big burden to us, and we got to be able to keep up with all the maintenance, and that's a big part of why we're here today. So,
Commissioner Richardson.
I'd like to echo everything everybody just said. I want to thank Squire JW coming in and County Judge. Today, this right here, having worked for the city of Frankfort for almost 24 years and having a lot of people in this room have lived in this community, this is a historic piece of legislation. We have a chance to really do something that other communities have done 20, 30 years ago. I drove about 750, 800 miles last week for work, and every stop I made, I talked to somebody that was a public official. This isn't, you know, the sewer department is not, if I'm correct, Mr. City Manager, it is not in the business to make money. It's basically the fees we charge pays for our sewer system. Am I correct on that statement, pretty much?
Correct.
Okay. So, you know, the other day, our sewer director mentioned we have a lot of projects going on in the county, and that is the partnership that I think we've done. I think we're on the verge of growth, but this legislation helps with being fiscally responsible, like Commissioner Unger was saying, as well as the efficiency of attracting new business. And the other part of it is, you know, a lot of people don't realize, maybe our community doesn't realize, but our sewer budget is separate from our general fund. And one of the first things I did when I was elected was to wrap my head around things in city government that I wasn't real sure about. Obviously, over the past few meetings, we've talked about a lot about garbage, and I've wrapped my head around that. Sewer was the other thing, especially knowing how that budget is separate and how it does affect our general fund, especially when it comes to all of the easement work, the stuff that Laura does. Am I correct on that, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it does affect our general fund a lot. So, you know, I do want to mention, Squire Blackburn did mention, we've got a couple projects. I think 460 and the one that's going down to Millville. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. But those were grants that came through the state. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
So the one good thing about that is that's tax funds that are paying for that, right? So it wasn't like, you know, and that's going to help. One thing I want to make clear about our sewer, I've talked to people all over in our county, as well as others, a lot of people that are on maybe a septic system or their sewer's not that great, they would love to have the capability that we have for our sewer. And that's all we're doing. In no way, shape, or form does this hurt anyone in the county or the city. All this is doing is helping development be more efficient. And actually, I'm going to go with Commissioner Unger, is the fiscal responsibility that we have for our sewer department when it comes to the services we provide. Because, and I'll say this is maybe a bold statement, but technically the city of Frankfort, we own the infrastructure for the whole city and county. I mean, we own it. We own the sewer department, as well as, you know, I've been told by somebody in a pretty good spot that, you know, water and electric is ours too. So I just kind of want to say that I'm glad to be part of this historic moment for both the city and the county and this sewer ordinance.
Commissioner Smith Willis.
I also want to just follow up and just thank staff for the work that you all did to contribute to this. Although I did say I wanted to table it, I do appreciate the work that went into this. I think I selfishly just wanted to have a little bit more conversations, but I do appreciate working with you all and actually working with this commission to educate myself, being the freshman, on this topic. So I'm looking forward to the growth and the expansion of Frankfort and Franklin County. So thank you.
And I'll just say one quick thing. It's about fiscal responsibility. And well, first, thank you, Squire Blackburn, for coming and for the judge to come and speak. I know that's, you know, not easy to do, especially when you have your own responsibilities with the county. But the fiscal responsibility is one part, but it's also a fairness. You know, since 2001, the city's had the ability to extend sewer without requiring annexation into the city and without any questions asked, really, as long as it's in our service area, even though most other cities in our peer cities would not do that. We're just modernizing our policies and bringing them up to date. And it's also about sustainability, too. I think this ordinance and this policy, it incentivizes growth closer to the city's core, and I think that's a responsible thing to do in this day and age and discourage sprawl. So for that, I'm also in support, and I'll ask the clerk, without any other discussion, to call the vote.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Willis?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes, and that ordinance is adopted.